You can move the chair further. I mean, if you want. I mean, they put there, I think, because not to block the person sitting.
I don't know. You mean
so if you want, for the camera wise, it is better than otherwise you will be seeing nothing.
You mean the chair you want to move here?
No, chair is fine, but so long as from what I understand, when they move there, I thought they doesn't want to block the person there. So if the person doesn't want to block, you can move the chair to the side.
Up to the left side.
Yeah, up to your right.
We were. We were. Wait. Adjust.
Even the lectern can move in a bit, so the framing will be nicer.
Yeah, because I think there's a maximum I can go.
Slightly more in here, so that from this angle, from people from here. No, just a bit more.
Go outside. No space.
Okay. Because otherwise all the angle there will be showing the Toshiba.
Also the Toshiba got free advertisement.
So from there all will be Toshiba.
Yeah. The chair that you can stand on. They should be some.
run, you should leave the camera here. I take the camera away. You leave, I take the camera away. Okay? I run first lah. You just climb over the bicycle. I take the camera.
Guys, don't move.
Hello. Yo. Yes. Okay.
I can, provided that the shop is still there, because maybe it will sold out. Yeah, I will. Let's see later. Yeah. Okay. I think there should be one, but I'm not sure what time they're coming because they've got two places. I know there's a team that's going here to do zeros, but I think they went to the other side first and then later they come here. Yeah. Okay. Are we rolling now? You want me to grab some people here? Are we recording now, right?
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, like on your side, you're recording all my feed now, right?
Testing.
Kind of
1, 2,
right?
3, 4.
Okay. So sorry, one more thing for the ambience, right? You need the ambience or you want focus to the rostrum only? Clean one.
Flip.
Okay, so Gerard will change the channel to later. Okay, noted. Thank you. Yeah, ambience is still on.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Okay. You can
大家好，您好。Ungal vote Reform Party ke anjadiragal Reform Party ungal pakam baik pada vendam na neregreen. 我们的新加坡人，这个 PAP 当的人过来，很多外国人给他们工作，因为很多新加坡人没有工作，对不对？ People who come to a meeting, who come to seminar, who come to a political rally like this, they are looking for the betterment of the future. Am I not right? But look, most of these people are dreaming. It takes guts to change. It takes pain to change. You cannot dream about change until you change. You have to vote for the opposition. You have to vote for the Reform Party to represent you in Parliament, to be your voice. Our late Mr. J.B. Jeyaretnam formed this party alongside with 9 men with the idea of this party being a platform for young Singaporean to be the voice of Singaporean. This party are not looking for elite, people with high IQ, because we know there are people with high EQ. High emotional quotient. these people who come from the bottom and strive their way upwards. I would like to tell you a story about Alexander the Great. One day, Alexander the Great crossed over Afghanistan desert on his way to India. While he was halfway through, there was no water. They were looking for water. He asked his soldier to look for water. But there was no water, ladies and gentlemen, because, as you know, desert, difficult to get water. Then one of his soldiers, by luck, ladies and gentlemen, managed to get a jug of water, enough for one person. So definitely, he would bring that water to his general, Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great took the water, and in front of thousands of soldiers, he held that jug of water like this. But instead of drinking, he pours the water. He pours the water, ladies and gentlemen. That is leadership. This is what I call leadership. Not the kind of leadership that pay them some millions of dollars while we have Singaporeans looking for tin cans and cardboards. And they have these guts to talk about us, the people, to improve our life. The PAP always will show you buildings. And they say they are the cause of it. Progress, they say. Yes, I do believe the first gut PAP, but not the present PAP. When we first started, EDB, Goh Keng Swee asked for help from the United Nations. United Nations sent 5 nations. Israel to take care of our defense, police, army. Sweden and Germany for our technology infrastructure. Switzerland for our reclamation. And Switzerland for our financial structure and banking. Without this nation, we won't be like what we are now. So the PAP alone cannot claim it is because of them. If there is one man that we are indebted to, that would be Mr. Goh Keng Swee. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a team here, a unique team in Ang Mo Kio. Never in the history of Singapore politics where the activists really get involved into being politicians. We have Mr. Roy, and everybody know who is Roy? He's a great orator. Even though controversial, he's a great orator and he really cares for Singaporean. And then we have Mr. Sulaiman, Mr. Osman bin Sulaiman, who championed for Malay issues, and he's very active in the Facebook. Every Singaporean knows him. And then we have Mr. Siva, who is very experienced in handling housing. He was once from the PAP, working with them. And of course we have Mr. Ravi. Everybody knows Ravi. In 2011, he was nicknamed Cicero. You know Cicero, in ancient Roman, there was one speaker who fought for the right of common men, Cicero. So he was nicknamed the Cicero of Singapore. And then we have Jess Lu, who was a former banker. And then, of course, we have Mr. Gilbert Goh. Whoever have been to Hong Lim, they should know who is Gilbert Goh. So we are in the crossroad of change. So let us together stand up for this change that is inevitable. We are fed up with our overcrowded public transport, namely MRT buses. I wonder how long one has to tolerate over this overcrowded MRT. It is really terrible. Day in, day out, going to work. And I think you know what I mean. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call upon our first speaker tonight. He is our chairman, a young chairman. Mr. Andy Zhu, please come up. Everywhere he goes, a young woman would like to chase after him. I say, Andy, you better watch out. He's the youngest chairman, I think, in the Singapore politics. Please welcome Mr. Andy Zhu.
Good evening, residents of Ang Mo Kio GRC. My name is Andy Chu. I'm the chairman of the Reform Party, and I'm standing here today again to greet you all. I was here in this stadium in 2011 to say the same thing. What is the thing I want to say? We are here today because of the general elections. And do you think that the election is fair? Is there anyone out there who thinks that election is fair? Why? Simply because our party, I do not know which other parties or even which other opposition party has enough time to prepare from nomination day till now. And even so, from the day that the parliament dissolved up to the day of nomination, we have only 5 days. Is that enough? Is that enough for us to print our posters? Is it enough to print our flyers? Is it enough for our helpers to get a block for their leave? It's no. Yes, it is a no. But the PAP, they knew well in advance when it is coming. They knew what to do. which is why I say this is unfair. This is not a game, not a game of waiting. We, the Reform Party, got ourselves well prepared since 2011. Sorry, let me silence my phone. Apologize. I apologize for this. They are well prepared. And we have been walking the grounds from 2011 until today. It is the support of the residents and even the Singaporeans that bring us back to Ang Mo Kio, and not forgetting West Coast GRC and Radin Mas SMC. It is your people's mandate that will bring everyone forward after the 9/11. It is not different, but I can also put it as it is different. Why? Having us around doesn't mean that you expect us to do better than the PAP. The PAP has 50 years of glory. They used to flop before the 50 years as well while building the nation. I am grateful to the PAP for bringing our nation forward like what it is today. But it is the residents who brought me here tonight. They want me to fulfill the moral obligation. Why? Because they say the Singaporeans are being left out. Do you guys think so? I have all to say that the parliament is not about the elitists. It is not about them, the PAP. Since 2011, we have the Workers' Party, who is fighting for everybody as an opposition in the parliament. But the PAP is pressing them down with all the town council issues, which I believe could have been avoided. But that doesn't mean they are doing a bad job. Oppositions understand what the residents want, because we are just like you, exactly the same. Just me, for example, I studied in the heartland. I grew up in Yishun, Ang Mo Kio, and Woodlands. I understand what the people think. And this is why I am here today to bring forward, and if you put the vote to the Reform Party, we will make sure that we are the ones who represent you in Parliament. This route is not simple. It might be easy for you guys to see me standing here, just like that. Like what I was saying, being here is not easy. Time is short. We do not have enough time to prepare. It took us a long way to come all the way here to set up the stage, to put on the posters. And we did not have much posters. Why? It's the same issue. Welcome. Thank you. I regret to say, we have only 1,500 posters for our rally sites and the GRCs, because there was insufficient time for the printer to put. And it's all man labor. It's all their sweat. They are putting forward in helping us to put up everything. But we are getting criticism. The people is telling me, Andy, your posters are too low. It's below the lightning. But well, I say, no, it's not low. The sun is there. The sun is there after the storm. So please, Do not say that the poster is too low. It is not the bigger the better. I believe you all know. It is the feel. It's the feel for the residents or even for the Singaporeans. It is not about how much money you have to pay for the campaign. It is not about how much. Money is not an issue. It is the passion. The passion to serve. We can differentiate easily from the PAP. Do they come to you and ask you, what is it that you need? They do sometimes. But is that what they really have felt it? For myself, I was in Admiralty. Let me tell you a story. It's not a story, it's the truth. During the days when my MP came over to my flat, I was trying to park my vehicle in my usual lot, a season parking. And I see that they have a banner, danger, do not park. And it was barricaded away. So I thought, oh, something is faulty. Maybe the pipes are dripping. So, well, I did not park. But to my amaze, they shifted it away when the MP was driving in. Do you think this is right? And I wrote a letter and passed it personally to him. And he asked, is this true? I just gave him a smile and said, please ask your RC members. And that itself, I haven't got a reply. All I got was, it is the initiative of our RC members to reserve the parking lot for the convenience of the Member of Parliament. Is that satisfied? I was somehow upset. If to put a cost to it, we paid for the season parking, but he did not. Can I say that? Put this aside. Okay, tonight we are here for the Ang Mo Kio team. Give me some spirits. Thank you very much. I have a speech in Mandarin where I will wait for all my members to be on stage before we start formal. I thank you for your patience tonight, and I thank you for the time. 各位居民，我感谢你们今天莅临此地。请再稍后一下子，我会以华语来献上我的国会大词，请稍后，谢谢。
Our next speaker, the only lady in our team, Miss Noraini Yunus.
Okay, I will speaking in Malay first because I feel the issue is very much about me being a Malay person and a lady up here. Anyway, I'm Noraini. Saya mengucapkan terima kasih kerana hadirin semua datang untuk menyokong kami. Assalamualaikum tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Terima kasih kerana datang bersama-sama seramainya ni. Okay, saya Noraini binti Yunus. Saya adalah salah seorang calon parti reform yang bertanding di GRC West Coast. sekali lagi saya mengucapkan syukur kerana telah dipilih untuk mewakili kumpulan pembangkang di Singapura untuk kali yang kedua pada kali ini. Yes, tapi sekarang saya ingin ucapkan tentang isu-isu yang peka benar sekarang ini, termasuklah isu-isu tentang sara hidup di kota Singa yang terlalu mahal di dunia ini berbanding dengan New York, Tokyo dan juga masyarakat-masyarakat yang lain di dunia. Kita adalah termahal. Walaupun begitu gaji kita antara yang terendah. Kenapa? Siapa katanya kita sendiri yang menyebabkan ini kerana beraspirasi tinggi. Kita rasa itu tak benar. Ya, kami banyak berebut untuk mendapatkan kerja, mendapatkan tempat dalam transport, MRT dan sebagainya, dan juga perumahan dan juga pelajaran dan di sekolah. Berebut-rebut. Pernah abang saya yang berada di dekat kawasan utara ya untuk mendapatkan sekolah yang terdekat dengannya, terpaksa berebut dengan orang-orang asing termasuk PR dan sebagainya. Sebab tak cukup tempat di sekolah primary darjah 1. Dan juga tentang kerja ya. Semalam ada seorang calon PAP yang mengatakan bahawa jika kita mengadakan gaji terendah untuk memampukan hidup di Singapura yang termahal ni, orang-orang cacat akan terjejas. Mereka tidak akan dapat pekerjaan dan sebagainya. Tapi itu tak benar. Dia kata dia turun padang. Tapi tak, saya rasa dia sebenarnya turun padang sebab dia tak bekerja dengan orang-orang cacat sebegini. Saya bekerja dengan sebuah company yang ada orang-orang cacat ramai ya. Mereka banyak bekerja dengan baiknya dan gaji mereka bukanlah gaji yang terendah. Mereka adalah supervisor ataupun peringkat penyelia. Mereka satu kali tu saya pernah nampak cubicle ataupun tempat mereka, dia panggil operation supervisor. Semua orang-orang cacat, 5 orang antaranya. Yang gaji mereka bukanlah gaji yang lebih rendah dari gaji saya pun. Masa tu saya masih kerja part time ya, ataupun separuh masa dengan mereka. Jadi itu tak benar, dia bukan turun padang sebenarnya. Dia masih duduk dekat atas menara gading dia, begitu selesa dan tak terjejas dengan seharian kehidupan. Tapi dia mengatakan jika kita mengadakan gaji rendah, orang-orang ini akan terpinggir. Tak benar. Ya, sebenarnya orang-orang ini orang kurang upaya, dia panggil OKU, lebih okey dari kita. Yang masyarakat yang biasa ya, yang pertengahan, middle income dan juga middle age. Tapi entah mengapa dia kata dia turun padang dan bermain bola dan agaknya dengan kelecek dekat padang golf ke. Tapi saya rasa dia kaki bangku. Dan tak benar apa kata dia yang orang-orang cacat akan terjejas. Jadi sokonlah parti kami yang akan mengenakan, kalau boleh lah bila kita masuk parlimen nanti untuk mengadakan gaji rendah ni. Dah lama isu ni dipertikaikan dari tahun sebelumnya, tahun pilihan raya sebelumnya. Tapi masih boleh dapat mengadakan gaji rendah. Dan katanya orang asing tak akan datang untuk kerana termahal dan sebagainya. Tak benar pun. Mereka yang datang adalah orang-orang yang berebut-rebut untuk dapatkan kerja yang lebih rendah dari kita pun, seperti cleaner dan sebagainya. Dan kita boleh menggunakan teknologi tinggi ya untuk menggunakan alat-alat dan sebagainya untuk mengadakan kerja-kerja yang lebih baik lagi untuk kita. Dengan itu sokonglah parti kami untuk mengadakan gaji terendah ini dan tak takut dan tak dimomokkan lagi tentang kurangnya orang-orang cacat yang bekerja nanti. Kerana gaji mereka akan pupus dan sebagainya. Ya, terima kasih. Dan cakap tentang kehidupan dunia ni, kita tak boleh terpinggir dari keadaan ukrawi ataupun kisah-kisah agama. Walaupun dia dilihat sebagai faktor divisive ataupun faktor yang merosakkan kepaduan masyarakat, tapi kita terpaksa berdepan dengannya. Antaranya lah isu-isu pelajaran seperti pelajaran agama dan juga di sekolah. Saya mulanya masa budak-budak lagi, pelajaran ukrawi adalah penting. Bapa saya, ayah saya pentingkan agama. Jadi sebelum saya mengenali huruf abjad ABC, saya dah perkenalkan dengan alif beta. Walaupun saya tak pergi ke madrasah, saya pergi ke sekolah Inggeris, Bukit Panjang. Saya juga dikenalkan dengan huruf-huruf agama. Dan dengan itu saya baca terperanjat tentang sekular, pelajaran-pelajaran sekular yang orang sekarang begitu dimomokkan kerana takutkan prestasi mereka tak setanding dengan masyarakat majmuk dan sebagainya. Saya rasa itu pun tidak benar. Sebab mulanya dengan pelajaran agama lebih penting. Siapa dia ada satu manifestasi yang kita ni sekarang duduk dekat dunia yang penuh dengan pergolakan seperti terorisme dan juga agama-agama yang sesat dan sebagainya. Jadi kita perlu utuhkan dulu pelajaran asas tentang manifestasi kehidupan di dunia sebelum kita dapat bergerak untuk mendapatkan mungkin syurga dunia dan akhirat. Dengan itu harus ganding pelajaran agama dan juga pelajaran dunia. Jadi tak perlulah sebab perkataan sekular itu sendiri adalah dari manifestasi agama Islam itu sendiri. Ya, jadi pakaian tudung dan sebagainya bukanlah isu yang kita perlu hebatkan sangat. Jadi perlu dibenarkan beragama sebebasnya memakai tudung atau tidak dan tak perlu dipaksa ataupun sebaliknya lah, menghalang dan sebagainya. Jadi saya harap benar sokongan padu masyarakat majmuk yang lain untuk menyokong kami dalam hal ini. Sebab itu satu manifestasi. Termasuk pun kisah-kisah nak pergi masjid dan sebagainya. Saya pernah dihubungi ataupun didatangi seorang yang dipanggil Pondan dalam bahasa Melayu. Dia pernah bertanyakan, are you an MP? Dalam bahasa Inggeris. Saya belum lagi. Siapa saya belum jadi MP. Tapi dia tanyakan, saya pernah ada masalah, kata dia. Saya pernah pergi masjid dengan keadaan dia. Satu kali dia pergi masjid, dia pakai songkok. Kemudian dia pergi masjid, dia pakai tudung. Dia suka tudung, kata tudung dia menarik dan sebagainya. Tapi bila dia masuk, orang-orang kat sana yang dipanggil kerabat masjid ni, pandang dia satu macam. Dia tak dapat bersembayang. Dan satu hari tu, keadaan begitu kecoh, dia dibuang keluar. Dia diangkut, beg dia dan sebagainya, dia humbankan keluar. Jadi dia terasa hebat dia punya cubaan sebagai seorang pondan. Walaupun saya tidak begitu giat sangat tentang isu-isu LGBT ni atau isu-isu pondan. Saya rasa kesian juga. Sebab agama dia pun hak dia untuk melakukannya. Setiap bulan kami dia potong kan gaji MF untuk membayarkan masjid-masjid ini. Jadi hak kita juga sebagai pengguna ataupun sebagai seorang agama Islam untuk mendekati masjid. Tapi dia dihumban keluar dan bila ditanyakan, are you an MP? I said, not yet. Jadi dia tanya saya, what can I do? Sampai dia cuba cari dunia MP. Tapi tak kali dia jumpa dekat luar, dia nak salam pun orang tu dah macam tengok dah macam. Tapi dia pergi juga, dia punya meet the people session, perjumpaan untuk rakyat. Untuk berunding. Tapi dia kata, padan muka kau, kata MP tu. Saya terkesian dengan dia. Tak ada langsung. Dia penanganan tentang isu dia buang keluar dari masjid dan sebagainya. Rasa sedih. Isu-isu begitu hebat sekali. Jadi dalam hal ini, saya tak perlu segan dan silu lah. Sebab manifestasi pun dikatakan, akhir zaman orang-orang segini akan muncul seramai-ramainya. Jadi tak perlu kita begitu macam jakun tentang mereka begitu excited atau begitu kagum dengan keadaan mereka yang begitu hebat dan meminggirkan mereka dan mereka masuk masjid. Mereka pun mungkin keliru sebagainya seorang pondan mana perginya. Tapi di Masjidil Haram kalau anda semua pernah pergi ke Mekah, sama ada untuk menunaikan pada umrah atau saya pernah pergi haji, diorang boleh saf tu, diorang saf terlalu besar. Jadi kalau nak dekat kawasan lelaki atau kawasan perempuan terlalu rumit. Jadi Masjidil Haram ni, sebab dia panggil Al-Haram, dia benarkan saf tu tak begitu beza sangat antara lelaki dengan perempuan. Jadi sekarang ni saya rasa satu hikmat jika pondan-pondan ni masuk masjid dan dia tendang keluar, apa halnya satu hari nanti bila kita set up ataupun kita sediakan satu yang begitu mengasingkan antara perempuan lelaki kat sini seperti masuk masjid di sini, perempuan di atas atau di belakang, lelaki di depan. Satu hari dia punya saf mungkin kalau dah dijadikan seperti majlis di Arab di Mekah. Sedih kalau kita tak dapat bersama dalam keadaan satu uniting atau satu yang menyatukan kita dalam hal agama. Jadi penting kita timbulkan isu-isu ni walaupun sebagai wanita ataupun ganja pada saya. Dia buang keluar semata-mata dia pondan dan tak boleh sembahyang di situ. Apa dia pun confused ataupun dia keliru sama dia perempuan atau lelaki. Tapi walaupun gitu saya rasa isu-isu masjid atau orang yang dihalang dari masjid ini tak akan berlaku lagi. Itu bukanlah kisah satu yang unik. Pernah lagi satu orang melaporkan kepada polis bila dia ditahan dari melakukan sembahyang juga di masjid. Disebabkan kata dia pernah menuntut yang itu adalah masjid dari turun-temurun datuknya. Tapi dia dirampas dan walaupun mungkin Lee Hsien Loong telah memohon maaf mana-mana pihak yang tadi rampas haknya. Tapi saya rasa isu yang dia ni sekarang ni dihalang dari untuk bersembahyang di masjid bekas datuknya tu sebagai isu yang utama juga kita perlu ketengahkan lah. Tak perlu begitu meminggirkan isu-isu macam gini. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Noraini. I will call upon again Mr. Andy to address you in Mandarin. Thank you.
敬爱的居民，你们好。首先，我要声明，我们革新党的候选人以及我的队友，不是敢死队，也不是白老鼠。我们是为了新加坡人民， 而在此参选。我们希望得到你们的支持。我是革新党的主席朱来成，我很荣幸能够再次回到这个场地。我本人和你们一样，年幼以来，我的家庭环境不是很好，我也经历过许多波折。我所得到的教育，也都是在邻里的学校。首先，让我来跟大家介绍革新党的起源。革新党是由惹耶勒南在2008年所创立的。在他过世后，他的儿子肯尼斯接手了他的重任，继续的帮助新加坡人完成他父亲的愿望。当时，革新党几位领袖并肩解决问题，继续为新加坡人民争取正义、民主以及权利。从2009年，我们革新党在走访时，都细心聆听，去了解新加坡人的需要以及想法。我们并不是和居民握握手而已，我们用心聆听。很多新加坡人，他们都担心生活费的高涨、昂贵的医药费，以及没政府主屋住。最主要的是，他们必须承担公积金、医药保健补贴的责任。打个比方，我们说开计程车的师傅，他们没有假期，没有花红，也没有病假。Welcome, Kenneth. 德士司机没有病假，没有花红，他们每一天日晒雨淋，为了什么？很简单，就为了养家糊口和给他们的车租，对吗？他们不能够休息，一休息，他们就浪费了整100块。我们让计程车的师傅给我们一些反应。我们大家为了新加坡，为了他的人民，都忘了自我。红帽桥的选民，你们一定要投革新党一票，让我们替你们在国会里说话。我们革新党相信国会里不能只有一群不食人间烟火的高阶级人士，国会里应该也有一群能够真正理解平民老百姓的心声， 我们就是这一群了解平民老百姓的心声。我们也和你们一样，经历过水深火热的环境。我们明白你们，因为只有你们能够了解你们的家园需要的是什么。如今我们革新党第2次的参选，我们更了解人民的心声。只有我们革新党真正清楚你们的难处，对吗？谢谢。我们革新党在此向你们承诺，当我和我的队友入选之后，我们将成为一名全职的议员，并把至少10%收入捐出来。我们将全心全意的为大家服务。我们绝不会在大选莅临的时候才莫名其妙的落泪。我们是人民的栋梁与支柱，相信我们，给我们一个机会，也给你们自己一个机会来改变。请把你们的票投给我们革新党。谢谢。
Thank you, Mr. Andy. You see, Mr. Li Xianglong, long dragon, you know, they say in Chinese, dragon. There is one proverb, Eaten long men sen cha pai pei. If you pass the dragon gate, then your life will be improved by tenfold. So we are entering the dragon gate now. And we have the dragon slayers here. Our next speaker, our young and talented Mr. Sia Chandra.
Hi, thank you. Good evening, my dear Singaporeans. Thank you for being here with us this evening for a better tomorrow for you and me. Thank you for being a vital part in democracy. Let me share about me a little bit if you don't know. Okay, my name is Sia Chandra. Okay, I live in Ang Mo Kio ever since I'm born. Okay, I live in Ang Mo Kio Avenue 1. Okay, and I studied in neighborhood schools like Townsville Primary School, Bidley Secondary School, which is in Bishan, which is just across Ang Mo Kio. And my late grandfather, his name is Sanktradas, he used to drive bus 262. Okay, the bus number plate number 3398. Okay, I know tomorrow you all will take 40. Okay, anyway, it will be confirmed sold out. Okay, because what to do? In Singapore, our life is at gamble right now. I grew up, I played, I learned, I even worked in Ang Mo Kio. I've worked for People's Association as an RC manager, known as RC manager. My visit to rental blocks, especially block 318 at Ang Mo Kio Avenue 1, was an eye-opener for me. Because when I visited there, I see people of various kinds of problems. Okay, I've seen a lady who's taking care of a physically challenged child, and she herself is about 70 years old. Okay, and she's taking care of the son all alone. Okay, I've seen two uncles who are 80 over years staying in one house with no proper food. They can't afford to go out of the house. Okay, and these issues really make me think why in Singapore there still this kind of life exists. Okay, I truly believe, okay, we have economic success, but this economic success is not being shared by our people. So what's the point of this economic success? Singapore is not about skyrise buildings. It's not about Marina Bay Sands. It's about people. If the people are not taken care of, then what's the point of these buildings? Okay, and when I talk about RCs, okay, there are so many financial assistance given in RC. But at the end of the day, do these assistance really reach the people? Because when you go there, they ask you for medical documentation. They ask you for divorce letter. Okay, maybe the old uncle might have divorced 40 years back. So where is he going to find the divorce letter? Okay, they look at the 80-year-old old man and they ask, I want your medical cert. By one look, I know it's fragile. I don't need to be a doctor. We don't need to be a doctor to identify these issues. Okay, when the person is already stressed due to no financial stability, when they come to RC, they become even more stressed because of this documentation needed. Okay, I've seen people who have no money to buy food. Okay, as an RC manager, my pay itself pathetic. It's just called manager. Okay, I've seen people knocking my door asking for $5, $10, and I've given them. Okay, and I've also seen people living in one small house. 4 to 5 people are living in one small house, sharing a house. Okay, this is all happening in one block, 318, and there are a lot of these kind of blocks all over Singapore. Okay, anyway, when I talk about the screening process, HDB itself, okay, when you want to get a rental block, HDB got its own requirement to give a rental block. Okay, if I'm not wrong, you have to be earning less than 550 per person. So they have already screened ready. So why are they making these residents' lifestyle difficult by screening again and again? So what went wrong? Why are these people not benefiting from our world-class economy? Even after I quit my job, because I stay nearby the block which I used to work, I make an attempt to go and visit this block every night. I make an attempt to sit at the kopitiam beside this block, and I try to talk to the residents. At my very best, I can be only a moral support for them at this moment. Singaporeans today face many different kind of problems. Overpriced car due to COE. We can't afford to buy a car. Okay, never mind. Buses are like sardine fishes. MRT, lagi worse, no need to say, so many breakdown. I don't know what time I will reach my destination. Take taxi, even Antu not scary, but ERP is. The government says ERP is to limit the car due to the congestion on road. But what about taxis? Taxi public transport or private transport? I'm really confused. Remove ERPs from taxis. We are okay to pay the surcharges in the taxi because these surcharges go to the uncle and auntie who drive taxi. By the way, today not only uncle and auntie drive taxi, even youngsters with degrees are driving taxis. Our Singapore government has pushed us to this limit. Okay, upgrading of neighborhood is important. Recently, Lee Hsien Loong announced upgrading. Okay, but what about people's life are not being upgraded? There are so many people in all over Ang Mo Kio still don't have a house to live, still walking around picking empty cans. So what about these people? Why are they not doing anything to these people? There are so many Singaporeans in debts to bank and all other legal money lending agency. Take a walk at Ang Mo Kio Central. You will see plenty of these legal loan shops. Is this a healthy sign? Is this the Singapore we want? Okay, next, CPF. When they first started, Singaporeans are like, wow, CPF. Now, ayyo CPF. Okay, don't know when we can take our CPF. Now they say 65. Tomorrow they will say 165. The government says and does whatever they want. It is all about their wants and needs. What about ours? I don't think so they even care, because the actions say so. Can we do anything about it? Yes, of course. By voting for Reform Party. By voting for opposition if you are not in Ang Mo Kio GRC or West Coast GRC or Radin Mas. Okay, we can't be paying and paying. Okay, when with regards of CPF, okay, if I'm not wrong, even the money we burn for our ancestors, definitely will reach our ancestors. But our CPF money, I don't know whether it will reach us or not. Okay, labor unions. Actually, I really don't know what they are doing. Do they stand up for the people? No minimum wage, and we call this first world country. Minimum wage should be implemented at any cost. Retirement age, forever increasing. Okay, you can see old uncle and auntie still working. Soon they will say until 100 years old you can work. We are not getting the job and pay we deserve. HDB prices are so expensive. People put off marriages and plans to start a family on hold. The government complain about birth rate declining. Of course it will. When students want to study in private schools and institutions, they can't even use their parents' CPF. We are not going to run away. The government should make a scheme like we can use our parents' CPF and automatically pay back when we start working. In Singapore, even before a youth starts work, he is already debted to the bank. When he starts work, he is already debted to the bank, paying the educational loan he had taken. Okay, these all have to change. When we tell our problem, government goes around telling people opposition only complain. They don't have any solutions or long-term plans. They counter-attack us that opposition has no credibility or long-term plan. They only talk. Recently, I heard one of the so-called MP or MP2B commented on the scheme. Why just give 300? Why not give $3,000? Okay, but you know what? They are okay to pay themselves hundreds of thousands of dollars. We are sure we are here not just to complain. We are here to make a change. And we are here to make a change. We Reform Party will definitely make a change. We will be the voice of the people for a better tomorrow for my fellow Singaporean. Let my team and me to be the voice of Ang Mo Kio residents and Singaporeans in the parliament. We will definitely represent you. If I'm elected, I will be a full-time MP because I can't be traveling in MRT, going to a day job and coming and helping you all, because traveling in MRT is very tiring. I will be definitely a full-time MP if I'm elected. And definitely with my pay, I will give certain amount of my pay for Ang Mo Kio GRC people monthly. Okay, mark my words. Okay, and I'm not going to wait until I'm going to be elected. Okay, why must I wait until whether I'm elected or not? Everyone should contribute to the society. Everyone should contribute to the nation. But how? Okay, and these you people can directly communicate through my Facebook or through Reform Party Facebook. Or if not, it's okay. I give you my number. Take down 90629-314. Okay, thank you, everyone. I love you all. Vote for us. Vote for Reform Party. Love all, serve all. Thank you. Vote for Reform Party. And lastly, thank you for all of you all coming here. Thank you for Mr. Kenneth, and thank you for my team members, and thank you for the police who are ushering, and thank you for the sound guys, and thank you for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Siva. That's our young Siva. Our next speaker, a banker, And a banker, you know, when we talk about banker, sometimes shivering, huh? You know, people like the Morgan, the Sheep, the Warburg, the Rockefeller. Jesse Low.
My name is Jesse. I'm a former banker actually. Like you Singaporeans, don't know when bankrupt. You know, much has been said about Singapore being a very special country. We are very special. We're a unicorn. With something in the, you know, the unicorn, the horse, with the unicorn. Singapore is very special because we are different from other nations. Now, if you look at the Google map all the way down to Singapore, you will see that Singapore is the shape of a diamond. Am I right? Okay? That is how rich our country is. Okay? But first, before I begin, I want you all to turn to your neighbor and say, we can make a change. We can. Thank you very much. Now I want to tell you how special we are. First of all, I know the trappings of family. I come from a family of 2 girls. The trappings of a family with no job. I've been through there. And be a PMET, professional manager, you know, electrician, technician, manager. I know that looking for a job now is not easy. Not like the 80s and the 90s. Something has changed. Every day, every month, every payday is actually a payday to the bill. SPS, Town Council. We are left with nothing. We have to set aside for grocery. It is not enough. Singaporeans are living in either absolute poverty or relative poverty. Mark my words. You compare yourself to Japan, Hong Kong, and even Malaysia. I can tell you those people who are working here, they're very happy because of our exchanges. We have the lowest wages while our GDP per capita is the highest. As a first world country, we think we are. We are no better than a third world country in living condition. Our parity purchasing power is lower than that of Tokyo and Taipei. Now, I wish to highlight some points regarding why we are here and why you are here. And I thank you very much that you are here. You need to listen to this. And all those who are not here with us, I hope you are listening as well on TV. Now, inflation over the last 13 years is hovering between 20, 25, and if you calculate over 13 years, about 38% inflation. But have our pay increased? I don't think so. It has stagnated. And why? Let's give the man in white a break. It's more than that. It's the policy. You know, I do walk about and I privately see that people are in squalor. But I walk around in Parliament, I see, wow, beautiful. Public opulence. Everything is beautiful. From Orchard Road all the way to High Street. Come down to the backwaters, you see a different thing. Food, housing, transport is taking most of our salary. Yes? Am I right? We can't keep up with household items because the costs overshadow our pay. But we have solutions. We cannot keep on living a monotonous life as Singaporeans. Work, come back, work, come back. Hi, can you take a leaflet from Reform Party? They look, wow, so tired. Really poor thing. And that is why at the rally, it's a place we have to address all this problem. I think my friend Sia Chandra has spoke about a little bit about minimum wage. Now we talk about productivity never increase. It is because of cheap labor. How can a productivity increase if we use a labor intensive? We give the money to the SME, but they never utilize. But with minimum wages, it's different. Productivity has to increase because you're using one labor to do a lot of more things efficient. And if that person is good, there is progressive wages. That's what PAP has been selling you for the last 5 years. I know that. They have a little bit of hybrid. PAP loves hybrid. Hybrid car, hybrid this. They call it pragmatism. I call it 骗人. Now, if we can give incentive to small businesses to hire Singaporeans, like a tax break or a cap rental in a cap or a rental, cost will come down. They save $1,000 levy employing a foreigner and doing all the private arrangement, credit, debit. That will be better because that will identify Singaporeans who go back to work. Suddenly, they are motivated to work with minimum wages. The net effect is the same or more profit to these small businesses. And they are very happy to employ Singaporeans because Singaporeans are so well educated. MOE educated us very well, yes? So why are we not employed? Something is very wrong here. We want our cake and yet not eat it. So if you vote us into parliament, we can be sure whether you're a worker, self-employed or small business, we have to take care of you. We are not dumb. We know everybody has been taken care of. That is the business of MP. But if you have a party whip, even though the idea sounds tenable, good, do you think the MP want to get off the chair and work for you and voice it out in parliament? You really need to have a voice. And in this area, in Ang Mo Kio GRC, is where our voice will be for you. I, like Siva, will be very happy once we go into parliament. We will make sure that as a minister, we are efficiently working for you. We're not going to be mouse in the parliament. Like the Prime Minister said, we are well educated, we are all Singaporeans. Is PAP a UFO? Super intelligence? No, they are just like us, you and me. If they tell me that they are one grade better, then I say, well, I don't know. Yes, we must get over this thinking that we are inferior. We are not inferior. Thank you. Now, I want to touch a little bit on COE. I hope that COE will remain affordable and you know where we are coming from. A lot of people has not owned a car before. We want this group to also pick up cars so that, people with cars will also be employable. And I think small business like that. People who need a car the most, family who need a car the most. We need to get people also to take MRT and trains. I like MRT. I sold my car. I love MRTs. I think it's take a lot of stress off. You know, going through gantry. The thing about gridlock, COE, gantries, is to alleviate, make more less car. But have you all noticed as gantry comes up, more cars come up? Yeah, because of immigration also. Expat also want to have cars also. Yeah, a lot of people want to have cars. Competing needs with Singaporean. If you have gantry, the gridlock should be away. No more gridlock. Something is wrong. We have inadequate planning. And we want to address that in Parliament. We want to have a reliable and affordable public transport. You can't have millions of profit that the transport company rake in, and yet they still have to increase fare. Why? Oil prices has come down. Some say they're going to go into $35 per barrel, whether it's, you know, crude oil or processed oil. The thing is that it has not come down. I think some opposition members also question. I think as Singaporeans, you all know. So let us be a voice to go in. I also want to address pioneer citizens. Pioneer citizens are very important people. They need to have dignity. You know, when I was living in Melbourne, after 10 a.m., all the senior citizens travel around free of charge. Do you know that? We want to have an inclusive society. We want old people to come out and mingle. We don't have old people coming out early hours because they are afraid to be knocked out, you know, crowded and all that. I think this is one of the reasons why I came into politics. I'm actually a social activist, beginning to be. And when I was asked to step up, I know I had to sacrifice a lot of things. Something that I know you all are concerned with and not many want to step up. So I'm here. Please understand that we're not here just for filling up the numbers. We are here so that we can go into the Parliament. We need to renationalize our public assets, bring back SMRT. We can't keep using the army to direct people here and there. Now, is SMRT a private company or is it I don't know. We need to make a stand because it is such a huge infrastructure. We need the Singapore government appoint somebody and run as a national asset. We need direct ownership from the government. We need to have Singaporeans employed more. No more contract jobs for Singaporean. Because foreigners will come in and take all contract jobs. That's why there's so many contract jobs over the years. Have you seen the system, the trends and patterns? They are everywhere. Back in the 80s, there's no such thing as contract jobs. Few and far between, but it's getting more and more. So, we need to address poverty line. Why are people always going photocopy, pay slip, CPF transaction to CDC and all that? I think once we identify who are the poor people are in a group of $1,230, absolute poverty, really cannot make it in a family. You know, having a computer doesn't mean you are rich. It is a tool for you to climb up the social ladder. We want to have social inclusion. My ideal is to have a big society where we bring everybody back to the 80s where people are very happy again. We want the government to play a small role. No more government intervention in every aspect of our life. No more. That increases bureaucracy. That increases employment of their own people, which is why we're all unemployed, because they choose their own people. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But we are very special, remember? Unicorn. I want the mortgage to be smaller amount. I want HDB price to come down. They cannot include land cost. Land cost is state land. I met some of them before. Believe me, they're very compliant. They took the money and they will go away. Very sad. We need to manage our mortgage rate, the SIBOR rate. MAS intervened in the FX market against Singapore dollars. They can also intervene in the overnight market. Am I right? They don't for the banks. So we need to decouple, tear away the SIBOR rate so that home loan become cheap. Why? Because most of our pay goes to home loan also, right? So I want more money for them. I'm sure the next question you'll hear from the government is, who is paying for it? Apart from the fact that the MPs are getting very high pay, you know. Yeah. Some of them 300,000 a month, you know. Really. You don't know? Okay, now I'll tell you. Yeah, not 16,000. So some of them, not all. You must be talented. You know, Singapore also have Oscar award, you know. Have you ever seen Oscar award? You know, the Hollywood Oscar? You see a lot of old people go to the trash can and become Oscar, the Sesame Street Oscar, looking for food. I'm not joking, it's very sad. That is our Oscar award. We don't want that kind of Oscar award. We want them to retire with dignity. We want the Ama and Akong, Pacik Macik, all retire happily. Okay? So, I hope comes 9/11, don't think about the Twin Tower and terrorism and the ISIS and, they don't speak about such things until very near election. Notice that. It's to create instability in your heart. We know how to play with classical conditioning also, but we are not that kind of people. I can cry also when I see the old people, but I'm not going to cry. There's no point crying. This is not the time to cry. This is the time to take action. We will cry when you put the mark on Reform Party. When we know the result, we will really cry for Singaporeans because we're happy with joy. So, to have a better tomorrow, a better future, today, you got to vote for Reform Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessilo. Well, it's when you look from the perspective of a banker, well, you see something different. Well, our next speaker, if you frequent Hong Lim Square, this name is very familiar. He may look weak and feeble to your eyes, but when he fight like the lion of the forest and serpent of the valley. Most of the time he is silent, but when he speaks, he silences the others. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gilbert Goh.
Hong Ma Chao, Xue Ming, 你好。今晚很荣幸可以跟你们交谈。Omokyo residents, good evening. How are you? Selamat Patan.
Terima kasih. Saya cakap Melayu tak pandai. Faham? Boleh tahan lah. Boleh cakap sedikit lah. Tapi tak boleh cakap banyak. Betul kan, Yaakob? Barakam, my friends. I'll speak a bit in Mandarin, and later on, I'll speak in English. 我在红毛桥前几天走过，就看到很多老人，70多岁了，拿纸皮。我看你在我的 Facebook 也看到有一个75岁的老人在拿纸皮，我给了他10块，他就很开心。我就问先生呢，为什么这样老还要拉纸皮呢？他就说没办法，生活费吧。这个在 Facebook posting， 我看有10万人看到，我觉得很不开心。我们是一个很富有的国家，为什么我们的老人得不到应有的福利？昨晚我跟 Jessie 也经过红毛桥，就看到一个70多岁的妇女在捡纸皮，我也很心痛，因为她好像跟我的妈妈一样年龄，一样身材，很小。我给了她7块，她就看着我，眼睛有一点泪，流了一点泪，就很感谢我。我只给了她7块，不是70块，还700块。就觉得为什么我们的国家这样有钱，这样富有，不可以给他们一点福利呢？新加坡有2个口头禅，第一，你可以死，但是不可以有病，因为医药费很贵，对吗？很多老人我知道没有这个能力去看医生，有那个 appointment， 他们也不要去看医生，为什么？因为他们没有钱，因为他们没有钱。第二个口头禅就是说，你没有工作啊，去找就是吧。很多我们的大学生30多岁、40多岁就家政士。我的爸爸这个家政士的30多年了，但是他已经去世了。所以我就问，为什么大学生40多岁又去家政士呢？是不是我们的社会有问题呢？太多问题。觉得我们的社会福利真的有问题吧？我们是有钱的，我们不是很穷的国家，我们不是印尼还是马来西亚没钱的国家，但是为什么大学生30多岁、40多岁、50多岁要去夹这税呢？为什么不可以给他们一份工作呢？ 为什么外劳有工作，我们新加坡人没有工作？哦，对，谢谢你，安迪。我的华文有限度啊，我尽量啊，好不好？你们听得懂吗？听得懂吗？后面那边，我的华文还可以吗？可以就鼓鼓掌吧，给我点支持吧，好不好？支持我吧，给我点支持，鼓鼓掌，谢谢。很多人问我，我的女儿问我，说 Daddy， 为什么你要去红毛桥对那个龙啊？很多人讲你很有种啊，我们有种吗？我们有6位这里很有种的，你知道吗？6位男生。我跟你讲，我在这里台上可以跟你表达我的意见，但是我们也是有一点害怕，因为这里是总理 Prime Minister 的 ward。Don't worry， 我知道你们很支持我，哦，呀，我很鼓励，很感动，很多人支持我，每天就很多人 email 我 Facebook 我讲 Gilbert 不要害怕，我会支持你。所以我觉得我有这个重任来跟你们分享。第一，我很不开心。新加坡人，你们开心吗？现在开心吗？开心吗？不开心。第一，很难找到工作。找到工作 ，Jesse 这样讲，是 contract， 1-2年后你就没工作。你到40岁，不必去找工作，去搭的士吧，口头禅啊，新加坡唯一的口头禅，没工作叫的是。我觉得很羞耻啊，因为我们是很富有、很有能力的国家，为什么会落到这样的不好的现象？因为我们在这个大选有很多问题，我觉得这个大选是很重要。你投票不止投你自己一票，你为你的儿子跟你的孙子也会投一票，因为我们有这个6.9万的白皮书 （White Population Paper）， 这个白皮书是很伤害我们的，因为现在有40万的外劳，马来西亚人、印尼人、菲律宾人、印度人来这里抢我们的工作。政府跟我们鼓励讲要有外劳，新加坡才有工作，你觉得对吗？要有外劳才可以得到新加坡人的工作，你觉得是对吗？不对的，为什么要靠外劳我们才有工作？现在情形是不很好。我是管一个起床帮忙这些无工作的人，每个月我收到30个 email， 他们讲 Gilbert， 我没有工作，你可以帮我吗？我是一个辅导者、辅导员，我可以帮你，我可以跟你一起分享你的忧虑，但是我不可以给他们一个工作，我也没这个能力。I'll now use the rest of my speech in English. I hope my Chinese is good. 我的华文可以吗？鼓励一下可以吗？鼓励一下，谢谢，谢谢。我以为我讲1分钟的华文，我看有5分钟。Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, dear Omokyo residents and Singaporeans, I know a lot of you do not stay here, but you came to support me. I thank you. Give yourself a clap, Singaporeans. Omokyo GRC. A lot of people ask me, Gilbert, why go there? It's the Prime Minister what? They say, I don't know whether I can use that word or not. They say you have courage and conviction. I think I'm encouraged by the team. Can you give them a hand, my team? Right, Osman, Roy, Siva, Jesse, and M. Ravi. Give them a big hand. My 5 courageous Omokyo GRC contestants. Yeah, Roy, he's coming next. How many of you here just come to hear Roy? Give him a hand, Roy. This is a very special team. Do you know, guys? Do you think we are special? We are special. Yeah, I know. How many of you went to our first white paper protest? Yes, I saw you, Dennis. Put up your hand if you went to our first white paper protest. Wow, at least 5,000 of you. Put up your hands. Wonderful. Right, you too, sir. Wonderful. That was the first major protest in Singapore. Because Singaporeans are not happy with this white paper. It was passed down like motion within a week. Like Nizam Ismail said, motion passed down. I've done a few earlier protests at Hom Park, but it only gathered about 300 to 400 protesters the most. But the 16th February, 2 years ago, the white paper protest gathered about 5,000 of you. Give yourself a hand, Singaporeans. The rise of activism came about 3 years ago. I want to talk a bit about that. But 3 weeks ago, I was called up by the police and given a warning because please, they are here, you know. But let's give them a hand for the good job they've done so far. I was warned because it was related to the Filipino Independence Day protest that we wanted to do. But it was just a warning. But I refused to sign the papers. I guess it's something that is tricky. But we have 1.8 million foreigners residing and working with us. $400,000 of them host professional jobs. $200,000 of them host EP pass, drawing a salary of $3,003 minimum. another 200,000 whole S passes, drawing a minimum of $2,003 a month. I keep asking myself this question. Why do foreigners have a minimum wage, but Singaporeans don't? Singaporeans, right, my heart is troubled when foreigners have a minimum wage of 2,003 for S passes and 3,003 for EP passes. And for those now, if you earn above 5,000, you can bring in your wife, your children, and maybe your parents or your parents-in-law. Many of them are given citizenship. You should know why. 6,000 of them are given citizenship so they can vote for PAP. We also realize that thousands of fake degrees are in circulation because our government do not care about us. Our government PAP do not care about us. They do not want to check on the authenticity of these fake degrees. If I'm not wrong, 5,000 of these fake degrees, fake talents are working among us. Is this fair to us, Singaporeans? There's a few things we can gather from here. Firstly, they don't bother about you, Singaporeans. They just bring them in without checking about the experience and about their degrees. I think this is very sad. It's more sad, no, than angry. I'm angry, but I'm more sad than angry. Right, Singaporeans? Like I say, this election is very important. You do not vote for just yourself. You vote also for your children. You also vote for your children. Because if you don't, by the year 2030, half of the population will consist of foreigners and new citizens who can vote the PAP in because they are loyal to the ruling party, who give them citizenship, who give some of them free education, who give them housing, who give them first world status if they come from a third world country. Is this fair to us, Singaporeans? It's not fair to us. Many Singaporeans told me that we are second-class citizens in our own country. Do you agree with that? Do you feel second-class Singaporeans? Do you feel that you are cheated Singaporeans? Do you feel that someone betrayed us Singaporeans? Do you feel that the Prime Minister is a traitor Singaporeans? He is a traitor Singaporeans. He sold us out. In the FTA, Free Trade Agreement, there's a condition that allows foreign talents to come to our shore unobstructed. They can just come in by the tens of thousands over a certain period because of the free trade agreement. Right now, I've told you, there are 400,000 foreigners working among us. Some of them will interview you and say, I am here to work, and I can tell you, you do not have a job. Some of them will be S passes or EP passes. And they can be a human resource consultant going through your resume, interviewing you, and say to you, Singaporean, you do not have a job. Is this fair to us, Singapore? I've heard from many jobless professionals telling me, Gilbert, I was interviewed by a certain nationality, and I cleared that hurdle. After that, when I saw the senior person, who is also a foreigner, and he told me I'm not selected. I wasn't selected. You see, this is my country. Is it fair that I, a Singaporean, are unable to get a job because a foreigner told me so? Is it fair, Singaporeans? We need better labor protection, my friends. We want the government to protect us in the employment sector, because without a job, we have no welfare. We have nothing. Jesse has spoken about social problem related to unemployment. If you don't have a job, chances are you have financial problem because we don't have welfare. And after that, it is probable you have family problem. We have seen many professionals who are jobless. After a while, they wrote to me, Gilbert, I'm jobless and also divorced. Because if you don't have a job, you have financial problem. And with that, there are stresses on the family. Do you know that it is a big social problem right now? Yes, it is. Because people like Jesse, myself, we went through unemployment and we lost our family. I lost my family, I can tell you, 7 years ago, because I was in prolonged unemployment in 2001. And 10 years later, the problems that were surfacing then couldn't be resolved. And we are divorced. It's not something that I'm proud of, Singaporeans. But let me assure you, you will one day be that victim because of the white population paper. 6.9 million. Do you think we can have that in our Singapore? Do you think we can have 6.9 million population? Trains break down. We have done a protest last year. We asked Liu Tak Yu to step down last year, and I'm happy he has stepped down. Yes, let's give Liu Tak Yu a hand for stepping down. Because transport issue is linked to the population white paper. We're bringing too many foreigners. It clogged up the transport system. It makes traveling to work and back a chore. I'm sure you take the train, you know what I mean. Do you want that by 2030? 6.9 million. Singaporeans, do you want that? We don't want that. Yes. This election, vote wisely, because I've repeated, you don't vote for yourself only, you vote for your children. You vote for your children's children. In 10 to 20 years' time, your children, when facing the problems related to overpopulation, will ask you, Daddy, Mommy, have you voted for PAP or not? Because right now, I buay tahan liao. I don't have a job. I face problem in the transport system, and everyone surrounding us is a foreigner. We went campaigning in Ang Mo Kio. It's difficult because the first thing I have to ask them is, "你是不是新加坡人? Are you a Singaporean?" Because half of the people that we spoke to are foreigners. They can't vote. They are PRs or S passes or EP pass. Some may be new citizens. When I say this, it's difficult for me because now I'm standing here under the Reform Party. But I want to address you new citizens. You're having a good life right now, but in 10 years' time, there'll be a new batch of new citizens coming in. And your life will be as miserable as Singaporeans. Because the PAP will not give you face. The PAP will not relent in bringing in more foreigners to replace you. You are having a good life right now. You can vote for the PAP, but in 10 to 20 years' time, you will face the same problems as us, as what we are facing right now. We do want change, Singapore. It's due. Some of my colleagues will talk about change later, but I want to give a minute to it. We've been under the PAP rule for the last 50 years. They've run out of ideas. They're bringing a lot of generals. Now there's an assistant commissioner to rule us. It has become a militant government. There are at least 10 generals in the cabinet, in the parliament. Is that what we want, Singapore? They lack that experience. They lack the know-how to run the country. Chan Jun Singh has asked Singaporeans to work abroad to get better experience before you come back to Singapore to compete with foreigners. Is that fair, Singaporeans? These are the stuff that anger a lot of us. This is my country. Why should I go abroad to get better experience so that I can come back to my own country to get a job? I think this is madness. And I think it has angered a lot of Singaporeans. Tan Chuan Jin say that cardboard collectors do it for what? Exercise. Damn shook, huh? Why? Every day, this old elderly cardboard collectors exercise. I've spoken to a lot of them actually. We have actually worked with a few, right, quite closely. And we feel that a lot of them need the money. At 80, 75, they still do cardboard collection. Right, do you know that 2 cardboard collectors were killed last year along a busy highway when they pushed their trolleys? One of them is 85. My mom is 85. I feel for them because they remind me of my mother, right? Yeah. So when I see them doing this, my heart is painful. Yeah, I shed tears for those 2 that are killed while collecting cardboards along a busy highway. What can we do for them, Singaporeans? Yes. For those of you who are jobless, I know it's a very pertinent question. What can you do to help yourself? The government has asked you to upgrade. The government has asked you to go abroad, get experience, then come back to look for a job here. Chan Chun Sing said, MNCs do not give preference to local professionals, and they view the locals and the foreigners as equal. So basically he's saying, he's a labor chief, that you do not have basic labor protection. You have to compete with a fake degree talent for jobs. Is that fair, Singaporeans? It's not fair. This is my country. Why do I have to compete with a fake degree cert for jobs? Jesse has also mentioned that contract is a big problem. We have 1 year, 2-year contract, and after that you're out of job. The last 6 months I've seen a lot of degree holders in the 30s. Now they're in the 30s who do not have a job. And often when they work, it's a 1 or 2 year contract. They don't feel secure. They don't want to marry. They don't want to date. I think it's something that we feel ashamed about. The government has said that we do not give birth enough. And so they bring in more foreigners to make up for the lack of birth here. But who created the problem, Singaporeans? Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew says, stop at 2. My mom stops at 2. I only have a younger brother. So Lee Kuan Yew actually created that problem for us right now. Now Lee Hsien Loong, his son, has a bigger problem. He brings in more foreigners. With the Little India riots, with the SBS bus strike, these are symptoms of a bigger problem that foreigners can bring us. They form enclaves. They don't integrate well with us. They keep to themselves. I think it's a big problem. For Singaporeans, you need to vote wisely. You need to vote for change. You need to remember your vote is not only for yourself, but your children and your children's children. Think carefully, that's right. Vote for change, my friends. Thank you, Singaporeans.
Thank you, Gilbert. Our next speaker, a lawyer. Well, some may say, what's so special about lawyer? But this lawyer, something special, This is one lawyer who dared to cross-examine Lee Kuan Yew. Please welcome Mr. Ravi.
Dear friends and residents of Ang Mo Kio GRC, a very good evening to all of you. The MC said I'm a lawyer, but I have yet to get my practicing certificate as yet, and that will be coming soon, and I will then inform you about the outcome. Now, before I begin my speech to speak in English, I shall say a few words in Tamil. இந்த அரசாங்கம் மக்களை பயமுறுத்தும் ஒரு அரசாங்கமாக தான் இருக்கின்றது. எங்கு போனாலும் பயம் பயம் பயம்தான் நம்மளை அச்சுறுத்தும் ஒரு நாடாக உள்ளது. நான் முன்பு கூறியது போல ஒரு பத்திரிகை பிரசங்கத்தில் ஒரு அரசாங்கம் மக்களை அச்சுறுத்தினால், ஒரு அரசாங்கம் மக்களுக்கு பயந்தால் அந்த அரசாங்கம் அங்குதான் ஜனநாயகம் இருக்கின்றது. ஒரு மக்கள் அரசாங்கத்திற்கு பயந்தால் அங்குதான் சர்வாதிகாரம் இருக்கின்றது. உங்களுக்கு ஜனநாயகம் வேண்டுமா அல்லது சர்வாதிகாரம் வேண்டுமா என்பதை நீங்களே முடிவு செய்து கொள்ளுங்கள். நாங்கள் விரும்புவதெல்லாம் ஒன்றே ஒன்று, சிங்கப்பூர் ஒரு முழுமையான ஜனநாயக நாடாக ஆக வேண்டும் என்பதுதான் எங்களுடைய விருப்பம். மற்றபடி எப்படி இந்த அரசாங்கம் உங்களை பயன்படுத்துறது தெரியுமா? அவர்கள் வெளியூர்காரர்களை இங்கு கொண்டு வந்து உங்கள் வேலையை பறிக்க வைத்து உங்களது சம்பளம் இறக்கப்படுகின்றது. உங்களது சம்பளம் இறக்கப்படும் போது உங்களுக்கு மன உளைச்சல் ஏற்படுகின்றது. ஆகையால் நாம் விழித்துக் கொண்டு எப்பொழுதும் இருக்க வேண்டும். ஒரு பாடல் இருக்கின்றது, விழித்துக் கொண்டாரெல்லாம் பிழைத்துக் கொண்டார், குரட்டை விட்டோரெல்லாம் கோட்டை விட்டார். ஆகவே இந்த நூற்றாண்டின் வாசலிலே நின்று கொண்டிருக்கும் வாலிபனே, வா, உனக்கொன்று சொல்லுகிறேன், காது கொடுத்து கேள். வெற்றி என்பது நீ மட்டும் தேடி சென்று அடைந்துவிட முடியாது. அந்த வெற்றியை நோக்கி செல்ல துணை புரிவதே உனது அறிவு திறன்தான். எனவே ஏடா தம்பி, எடரா பேனா, உணர்வு கத்தியை தீட்டாதே, உன் புத்தியை தீட்டு. வந்து போகும் வானவில் உணர்வுகளுக்கு உனது அறிவினை நீ அடகு வைத்து விடாதே. இந்த நேரத்திலிருந்து தேர்தல் வரை அறிவு உனக்கு சொல்லிக் கொடுத்து கொண்டே இருக்க வேண்டும். நீ சோர்ந்து படுத்து விட்டால் நீ படுத்த இடம் சுடுகாடு. பாய்ந்து புறப்படு, அம்மோக்கியோ எல்லாம் உன் வீடு. வணக்கம். That was machine gun. That was my first salvo to the PAP government in Tamil. My dear friends, this election is not merely about casting your vote. It is about our entire system of democracy. It is about we claiming control of our own land. And it is important that we put all the checks and balances in place to hold the government to be accountable. And it is important that you claim your democratic rights back from the PAP government. Now, you will recall in the year 2012, a part-time cleaner from Hougang went to court to claim her democratic right to a by-election. I happened to represent her. And when the case was before the court, the Prime Minister swiftly held the by-elections. If a part-time cleaner could do that, every one of you have the strength and capability to claim your rights back. And that you must remember. My dear friends, in this very stadium in 1997, the courageous lion of Singapore, our national hero, J.B. Jeyaretnam, fought for your rights with conviction, dignity, and determination. We have come here to continue that fight. J.B. Jeyaretnam is always alive among us in his spirit. He was persecuted for what he believed in. And this must not happen again to any one of us. Let me tell you about myself a little bit. I was born in Jalan Kayu, Kampong. So Jalan Kayu is part of Ang Mo Kio GRC. And I am a Kampong boy. My family settled in Ang Mo Kio when I was 8 years old. I studied in Ang Mo Kio Primary School and Terhi Secondary School, which I am very proud of. My college, the Anderson Junior College, is just across the stadium. My mother raised 7 children, and she went to the construction site to bring us up. And with all the toil and labor she put in, she subsequently worked as a cleaner at block 303 and 304 of Ang Mo Kio. So therefore, I have a very deep sense of connection and family spirit in Ang Mo Kio. It is this spirit of hope that will bring change. It is this spirit of hope, the cleaner at the hawker center. It is the spirit of hope, the tissue seller. It is the hope of our uninsured taxi driver. It is the hope of our stressed out workforce that we all will dream together that a brighter day will come. And the brighter day will come when you strike the sun of the Reform Party. As far as I'm concerned, the government does not get us. Do they get us? Do they understand us? They think that fear works. Does fear work anymore? They think that injustice works. Does injustice work anymore? The PAP government rules by fear. They tell us our neighbors are there to get us. They tell us that globalization will affect us and the opposition will ruin Singapore and you must give them all their power. They want 70, 80 and almost all the seats in parliament. So therefore, my dear friends, your basic rights should not be surrendered just like that. You have to fight for your democratic rights and you have to stay stronger towards that direction in this upcoming general elections. Very often, the PAP government tell us to give up your human rights in exchange of economic rights. But what the PAP is most concerned is about staying in power. When you give up your basic rights, bit by bit, eventually you lost all your economic rights. Today, you are powerless to stop the 6.9 million white paper. Today, you are powerless to stop the influx of foreign labor. Today, you are powerless in getting back your CPF at 55. Today, you are powerless to stop the rising cost, the transport cost, and so on. So, do you want to get your power back? Then vote for the Reform Party. From time to time, we have been tempted to believe that Singapore has become too complex to be managed by ordinary people. That government by an elite group of, they call them aristocrats, is far superior to government by ordinary people. In 2015, the PAP has not given us solutions. You know what? They have become part of the problem. Just an example I will tell you. One of the ministers said $1,000 is enough to run a family and buy HDB houses. Is that tenable? And also, my heart pained when one of a 70-year-old lady was brought to court and charged for not paying her service and conservancy charge. Is that the kind of government that you need? Therefore, my dear friends, vote for the PAP if you want 6.9 million population. Vote for the PAP if you want rising costs. Vote for the PAP if you don't want to withdraw your CPF at 55. Vote for the PAP if you want the floodgates of foreign labor to be open. Now, we have become strangers in our own country. As Gilbert was saying, when you go to the MRT station, first you got to ask, are you Singaporean? And then you have to check that before you deliver a pamphlet. Now, in these general elections, the PAP have started their old tricks just before the elections. They have started to hand out GST vouchers and other goodies. Because the Reform Party has sent a strong team here, the PAP has finally unveiled and responded with a $38 million estate upgrading project. Is this really upgrading? This is downgrading your intelligence because this 38 million is not the PAP's money, it is the people's money. They dish out as if it is their money when it is your money. So do not be hoodwinked by all this upgrading programs. Remember, it is because the opposition is coming, that is the reason why this upgrading project had been unveiled by the Prime Minister. It was unveiled only after the Parliament was dissolved. Why didn't you unveil the upgrading program before dissolution of Parliament? Therefore, this election is about the people against the People's Action Party. Remember, my dear friends, you have the most powerful weapon in your hands. That is your power to vote. It is time that you exercise that power to tell the PAP that enough is enough. Now, the other thing that we note is the concept of loyalty to the PAP. If you are not loyal to the PAP, they say you are not loyal to the country. Is PAP equal Singapore? So therefore, my dear friends, it is very important that loyalty is earned. It is not demanded. It is certainly not bought. If the government is afraid of the people, that is when it is a democracy. If the people are afraid of the government, that is dictatorship. Do you want democracy or dictatorship? So please vote the Reform Party in the upcoming general elections and make us your voice in Parliament. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ravi. A fiery speech. They also call him the Singapore Cicero. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Mr. Osman Sulaiman. Okay, there's a change here. Mr. Kenneth, our Secretary General.
My fellow Singaporeans, Wan Chang Hao, Selamat Datang, Vanakkam. My late dad, J.B. Jeyaretnam, left the Workers' Party in 2001 and founded the brand new and democratic Reform Party in 2008. On this very ground, in 1997, there was the five-man GRC of Chengshan. Then, victory was narrowly snatched from him and his team by the polling booth incident. In 2011, Reform Party contested here for the first time. Then, our intention was not to leave any seat uncontested. Today, we are returning for the second time. This time, Reform Party's aim is not to sacrifice itself for the sake of democracy. We are here to win. Of course, what Ang Mo Kio is most famous for now is that it is Mr. Lee Hsien Loong's constituency. Now, a lot of people have been making the comment but I have deliberately assembled a team to give Mr. Lee Hsien Loong nightmares. Well, maybe I have. But I ask you, why should Lee Hsien Loong sleep soundly at night? In his bed, at the top of an ivory tower, protected by foreign mercenaries, with a Swiss standard of living only for himself, his relatives, and his cronies. Lee Hsien Loong has assembled a team including a game show host who doesn't represent the ethnic minority who gave him the ticket to stand, and a doctor who told everybody that he believed everyone owned 2 cars. No, they don't. Most families have no car at all and live in overcrowded conditions that would be considered unsatisfactory in an economically failing nation. There's no need to take the road to Greece. You can join us on our grassroots outreach. You can come down with Mr. Siva to Block 318 and see conditions that any Greek citizen would consider unacceptable. Then there's Dr. Intan, most known for her service to the Ang Mo Kio residents by giving them a grassroots leader who was a fraudster. What I ask you, my dear fellow Singaporeans and residents of Ang Mo Kio, how do you sleep at night if this is your team that is watching your back and representing your interests? Now, to be fair to Dr. Goh, Mr. David, and others, at least they have real careers and talents in the outside world. They have had to work hard to progress, to submit themselves to peer review, pass professional exams, and so forth. Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, by comparison, has never had to take a job interview in his life. He has never had to take a job in the real world. His only job is professional son and professional heir to what can only be enormous wealth. Even his education was paid for by you, the hard-hit taxpayer, struggling to keep your head above water. From President Scholar, he became the youngest brigadier general ever in the army. From where it was an easy ride into Parliament, to what were then impregnable GRCs. Ask yourself why this man needs to hide in a 6-man GRC. One of the last 6-man GRCs on this island. And why, if he is so good at his job, he he needs to call a snap election. So snap that we don't even have time to print posters. Lee Hsien Loong, as we know, is a man who doesn't listen. But he is also a man who doesn't answer. He is not even a man who can talk. As we can see, every time he is without a scriptwriter, he reveals some very unpleasant truth. That is how we know Lee Hsien Loong believes he belongs to a special class known as the artificial aristocracy. To be fair to Mr. Lee, he is a talented sportsman. He knows how to fix the electoral game. He knows how to fix his opponents. And he is an Olympic standard player at dodgeball. When I think of Ang Mo Kio, I always think of Lee Hsien Loong's famous debate with my father, where JBJ kept saying, "Answer the question, BG Lee." Mr. Lee didn't answer the question then. He doesn't answer the questions now. The accounting books that tell you where the money is and how it is being used are as closed as his ears. This is why I brought the question to him in Ang Mo Kio. Maybe he will listen. Maybe he will not. That is why we must put the citizens' concerns to him in Parliament, where the questions and answers will be on public record. So you will say that I have brought a nightmare to Mr. Lee's bedside table. So that when his servants turn down his sheets at night, there is not a chocolate on his pillow, but the scorching yellow sun of the Reform Party. But I say to you, this is not a nightmare team. It is a dream team. I have assembled a 6-member team who are all independently known for championing the citizens' causes in their own right on a national and international playing field. As well as bringing in-depth experience on the ground in Ang Mo Kio. I assure you, Singaporeans and residents of Ang Mo Kio, that with this team, you can sleep well at night and wake up in the morning to the healing rays of a yellow sun, promising a brighter future tomorrow, today. On September the 11th, make the choice for yourselves. Take the power back into your hands. Vote for the yellow sun. Vote for my dream team. Vote for the Reform Party.
Thank you, Mr. Kenneth Jeyaretnam. Yes, vote for the Reform Party, the symbol of the sun. You see, the sun is higher than the lightning. Am I not right? So maybe other party can be hit, but ours higher, cannot be hit. Okay, our next speaker, Mr. Osman Sulaiman.
A very good evening, Singaporeans and voters of Ang Mo Kio GRC. Although this is my second time, you know, I still feel the jittery, you see. Seeing a lot of you here, I am very privileged to talk and speak in this rally under the Reform Party. We thank you for taking time to attend to our rally. I'm honored to be standing and be a part of the Reform Party to serve you. I'm an ordinary Singaporean like you, facing everyday issues that comes about from the current policies. I'm not going to wayang and say I'm a son of Ang Mo Kio or I have a difficult childhood. In fact, I was blessed with a privileged childhood. I came from a middle-class family. I got everything that I need. While my peers are struggling to cope with school fees, I was busy deciding what designer wear I want. That was then. Life was easy and leisurely until my father was made a bankrupt for a failed business venture. And my fairy tale ends there. At that time, I just finished school and waiting to be enlisted for NS. My NS allowance was only $250. And that was 10 years ago. Okay, that means on average, I will only get to spend about $9 per day for 3 meals. Okay, with no financial support from my family, I was living from hand to mouth. And even now, the NS men are having it tough. Because there was no support, there was no financial support back then, and there was no financial support now from our government. It is strange how the ministers justify their $1 million salaries, but when we talk about the NS men, they are quick to downplay the importance of having adequate salary or allowances for NS men. After my NS, I couldn't get a job straight away. There isn't any help. Then I understood what it meant to be poor. I have no pocket money. I am borrowing from friends to friends, relative to relative, just to go and find a job. The PAP doesn't believe in helping the poor, downtrodden and needy. Under the leadership of Lee Hsien Loong, the average Singaporean are finding it tougher to survive. The gap is pulling further away between the rich and the poor, and the middle class is being squeezed. Our wages are depressed with the influx of cheap labor. The PAP has stubbornly maintained that the minimum wage is detrimental to Singapore. We are one of the few countries in the world that don't have minimum wage. Without minimum wage, our wages will continue to be depressed and Singaporeans will continue to bear the high cost of living due to inflation. And that is why our Reform Party has pledged to pursue and champion for minimum wage in Parliament. Raising a child has become very expensive. Tiobo. Our fertility rate has been declining due to various reasons. One of it is the high cost of living. The recent government's initiative to extend paternity leave is a step in the right direction, But unfortunately, it doesn't address the main issue of why families would not want to have more than 2 children. The Reform Party manifesto pledged to introduce child benefit of $300 per month per child. And this will help to encourage more families to have more children. Agree? Being a first world country, it is unbefitting for Singapore to make our older generation to work, collecting card boxes and tin cans just to have 3 meals a day. We should value their contribution and show our appreciation by taking care of these people who have toiled 50 years of their life towards nation building. The Reform Party wants to have an old age pension of $500 per month for those over 65 years old so that they can have a dignified retirement. Do you agree with us? The PAP started out CPF scheme and promised to return back to us at 55. Then how things have changed and how the goalposts have been moved further away. Not only we cannot withdraw our CPF in full, the retirement age has been moved further away incrementally over the years from 55 to 65. The notion that Singaporeans are irresponsible and will squander away our own money upon withdrawal of our CPF and will be a burden to the society is misinformed. The PAP took an extreme example to justify holding back our retirement money. The Reform Party recognizes the importance of individual rights. As such, we will champion for policy to return back the citizen's CPF at 55 years old. Do you want your CPF to be returned back to you? The Reform Party also intend to cap the foreign worker number at the current level and instead work towards increasing productivity. Our current scheme of spending billions of taxpayers' dollars to improve productivity has not been effective. We need to reassess this scheme in totality and find better effective ways to improve productivity. Whenever alternative proposals were brought up to improve Singaporeans' life, the PAP ministers are quick to propagate fear among the people. They make Greece as a comparison. Let us make no mistake. We are not Greece. Greece overspends by the billions. Singapore underspend on our social safety net as compared to other developed nations. Don't buy that fear, my friends. We are not proposing a welfare state where we plunder our reserve. We are proposing for a well-rounded safety net, and if our money is invested properly at the root, less people will be falling through the crack. This GE is about determining the kind of Singapore we want. We know where the PAP wants to take us and how it plans to bring Singapore forward. We know that. Using the easiest way to crowd Singapore with 6.9 million population. Do you want that to happen? You see, a lot of my friends told me that, the PAP have ministers, they have good ministers. I agree with them. Okay, but it is not enough to put good men in parliament. You need to know the party's policy and direction. I know they are good MPs, but good men counts for nothing in parliament. When they wanted to pass the 6.9 million population white paper, what happened to those good men? Everyone fall in line and as the party whips restrict freedom of choice. The same can be said for my Malay MPs in parliament. They are good people, no doubt about it. But what happened when the party they serve take a stand that go against the grain of the community? They also fall in line. these good Malay MPs cannot stand on their own. So we cannot depend on them anymore. We need to make sure that good people and also good party with good policies be in parliament. Recently, I've walked in Ang Mo Kio GRC and walked about, and I saw an old lady in her 70s collecting card boxes. And I want to change this because I believe that the old people should retire in good health and enjoy their retirement age. But looking at the way Singapore, the PAP is bringing Singapore forward, we can never achieve that. I know for a fact, because my father is now retired, without me giving him monthly expenses, he cannot survive on his own. He cannot work anymore. But what if he doesn't have a child? He doesn't have me. He don't have me as a child. What will happen to him? He has to work. And that can happen to any one of us in 50 years' time when we are old. So we have to change this system of economic growth at all costs. We have to put the Reform Party in Parliament. Let me be your voice in Parliament. Let my team be the voice in Parliament. I am very fortunate that the party believes in freedom of choice, that the party believes in freedom of speech. I have no issues on bringing up my community issues to the party, because the party believes that if they want to be the government of the day, they have to take care of every single one of us, regardless of race or religion. So with this, let us party on 11 September 2015. Let us send a message to the PAP. Enough is enough. We are taking back the power from you. We are voting for the Reform Party. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Osman. You see, now we hear from the PAP, Mr. Goh Chok Tong, throwing names, calling us opposition as nomads. Nomads, imagine. Just like Genghis Khan, Genghis Khan come and flatten the plane up to Europe. Yes, the opposition will flatten them everywhere. And then they say if we get into power, we will plunder the money. Since when we plunder? Why not? Can he check his paycheck and count the money and ask himself whether he deserves that? So this make me remember one old saying, Arabic saying, let not the folk ridicule another folk who may be better than they are. No women ridicule another women who may be better than them. Neither insult one another nor defame one another by calling names. That is the name of lewdness after faith. And whoso turn not to repentance, such are evildoers. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, one and only Mr. Roy.
Good evening, Singapore! Good evening to the voters of Ang Mo Kio GRC. Now, thank you for coming to our rally tonight. Thank you. My name is Ngerng, and I am contesting in the Ang Mo Kio GRC under the Reform Party. Now, some of you may know that I worked at a hospital. We had patients who had to come for their treatment regularly. But some of them were from low-income families, And in order to get cheaper medication, they had to fill out many forms and even to ask their family members to submit their income statements so that they can apply for Medifund. But for some of them, this is embarrassing. And it takes up a lot of time. Many of them have to take on several jobs and work long hours. Some of them choose to stop applying for Medifund. Some of them choose to stop coming to the hospital completely. Now, for many of them, they earn low wages and they do not even have enough to use at home, so they have to apply for social assistance. I know one patient whose parent has cancer, so she stopped coming for her own treatment because she needed to earn enough money and to also apply for Medifund for her parent. Now, this made me think, what is the responsibility of the government? Now, the responsibility of the government is to take care of its citizens. Now, the responsibility of the government is to ensure that when we get sick, we can afford to go to the hospital. When our citizens need to further their education, they can afford to go to university. And when we need to take the trains will not break down. Now, an Ang Mo Kio resident told me, now we were standing right next to the MRT track. He pointed to the tracks and he said, the way the PAP run the country is like the way the trains are managed. There's little maintenance, and it breaks down all the time. Now, has the PAP been responsible to Singaporeans? Has the PAP taken care of Singaporeans? Now, has the PAP returned our CPF? Now, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said to a British media that he does not believe that transparency is everything. Is the CPF your money? Now, if the government does not want to be transparent to you on your CPF, then who does the government want to be transparent to? 如果人民行动党不跟新加坡人坦白，他们要跟谁坦白？ Now today, many elderly Singaporeans have to work as cleaners and collect cardboards. Tan Chuan Jin said that this is because they want to exercise. He said that they want to do it for dignity. Would Tan Chuan Jin step down as a minister and collect cardboards for his dignity? Will he let go of his $1 million salary? Now, our elderly Singaporeans have worked hard for Singapore. As a people, as a government, we have a responsibility to take care of our Singaporeans. We have a responsibility to give back to our Singaporeans. But today, many elderly Singaporeans still cannot retire because they cannot earn enough inside their CPF to retire on. First, wages have been depressed, so we cannot save enough inside our CPF. Second, the CPF interest rates are too low, so the CPF cannot grow. Third, HDB prices are too high, so it takes away our CPF. Fourth, the CPF minimum sum is too high, so it locks up our CPF. And fifth, the PAP takes our CPF to invest in the GIC and Temasek holdings, but does not return it to us. The PAP does not want to return our CPF. But is this right? Is this fair? Has the PAP been responsible to Singaporeans? We want transparency and accountability. For the past 15 years, Singaporeans do not even know that our CPF is invested in the GIC. The PAP did not want to tell us. In 2001, Lee Kuan Yew said that there is no direct link between the GIC and the CPF. In 2006, Lee Kuan Yew said that there is no connection between GIC's rate of return and the interest paid on CPF accounts. In 2007, when Low Tia Kiang asked in Parliament, does the GIC use money derived from CPF to invest, Ng Eng Hen said no. Now the PAP did not want to tell Singaporeans that they have been taking our CPF to invest in the GIC. But over the last 3 years, I went through several government websites and dug out the truth. I found evidence on the government websites that the PAP has been investing our CPF in the GIC and Temasek holdings. But what did the PAP do? The PAP deleted the evidence that I found on these websites. Now, Goh Chok Tong said that the PAP are their own checks. But who does the PAP check? The PAP does not check itself. It only knows how to check the opposition. The PAP only knows how to fix the opposition. The PAP only knows how to fix Singaporeans. Now, if we wait for the PAP to do their own check, then sooner or later the PAP will checkmate on Singaporeans. But last year, we checkmate them. In May last year, for the first time in the past 15 years, the PAP admitted that they took our CPF to invest. For the first time. And this is after denying for more than 15 years. Before that, bo sia. Before that, the PAP was quiet as a mouse. Who is the mouse? Now, is this a kind of check that you want? Check the oppositions, checkmate Singaporeans, but never check themselves. Have to wait for a blogger to check them some more.那老虎不发威，他们当我们是病猫，还是病的老鼠？当我们发威时，是谁变了病猫、病老鼠？但是我们新加坡人，我们大人有大量。那我们大人不计小人过。既然政府不肯帮助新加坡人，那我们自己进国会，我们新加坡人自己照顾自己。政府 PAP 要我们自力更生，好，我们自力更生，我们进国会自己靠自己，不需要再靠 PAP。我们要的不是一个欺负新加坡人的政府，我们要的是一个会爱护、会照顾新加坡人的政府。所以我们6个人来到红庙桥集选区，希望 能为新加坡人做出一点贡献。那我们希望有你的支持，请投给我们一票。Now, Lee Hsien Loong said, people support CPF cuts because there are no protests outside Parliament. But last year, more than 10,000 Singaporeans protested at the return of CPF because many Singaporeans are unhappy with the CPF. The PAP brushed it off. But early this year, because of our protests and because Singaporeans, you stood up and you made that difference, the government finally made amendments to the CPF. Slight amendments. Very small amendments. Like a mouse. For Singaporeans above 55, and only on the first 30,000, the interest rates went up to 30%. It is an enhancement, but that is not enough. The CPF is our retirement fund. The CPF is our money. Now, but today, I hear many Singaporeans saying, I won't be able to get my CPF back, so I'll use it to buy a flat. Many of elderly Singaporeans cannot take out their CPF because the CPF is locked inside. But this is not right. Where is the responsibility of the government? This is why the Reform Party wants the CPF to be returned at 55. We want Singaporeans to be able to opt out from the CPF minimum sum. We want the interest rates to increase. And not only that, other than your CPF, we want to give Singaporeans an additional $500 every month so that our elderly Singaporeans can retire. Now we want to make public housing cheaper so that we do not have to use so much of our CPF to pay for housing loans. Now this is what the team believes. If you believe in equality, then you have to believe in equality. Your policies have to be equal. You have to create policies that are equal. Now we want to build a democratic society based on justice and equality so as to achieve happiness, prosperity, and progress for our nation. And to achieve equality for all Singaporeans. Now, I believe that we can see a Singapore where everyone is united regardless of who you support. That we will help one another to move along in society. That even if you are poor, you will not be poor. Now, and if you grow old, you can retire with dignity, real dignity. Now, I believe in a Singapore where everyone are truly happy, where everyone is relaxed, where we know that we are valued in our country, where we know that we have a voice, that we can make a difference, that we can speak up, that the government will hear us, and that the government will make the changes for us. Now I believe in a Singapore where we are protected and we are taken care of, and where we will give back to our society and help our country grow together. This is what we want for our country. Now, and this is the responsibility of the government. Now, the responsibility of the government is to take care of its people. Last year, more than 10,000 Singaporeans stood and demanded for change on our CPF. We got part of what we wanted. Today, we will represent ourselves to go into Parliament. I will go into Parliament. I will research on policies and I will debate on them. Now we, my team, we will speak up for you and we will fight for you so that we can make policies to protect Singaporeans. And so that we can make our lives better. So that we can return our CPF. Now, we do not want mice in Parliament. We do not want mice in white. We want just and honest men in Parliament who will go into Parliament with the heart to serve the people. Now, my team, our team, we will work together with our hearts to serve Singaporeans and to serve you. Now, we have spoken up for Singapore and Singaporeans, and we will continue to do so. Please support us, and please vote for us. Vote for Reform Party in Ang Mo Kio. Thank you. We look forward to a brighter future tomorrow, today. Thank you.
Well, that's our Roy, fiery speaker. Our next speaker will be speaking in Hokkien. Mr. Darren.
Hello，各位新加坡的同胞，你人好，食饱未？你知影安怎迄行动党啊？今年提早一年来选举无？因为伊人知影，伊人已经失去了人心，失去了民心，所以伊人提早举行去个选举。咱知影迄行动党每年赚300到400亿，但是恁人作为国民的新加坡人的，恁人有享受到政府互恁人的钱无？啊，特别是去款老人家，我最近行访迄个West Coast Clementi 阿毛桥，我发觉有一个情形，就是真侪老人家因人卖报纸去小贩中心捡纸皮、捡水管来卖。安尼我真正好奇的，我就去问因人讲：阿姐，安怎恁人安尼迄啥年老了，莫伫厝顾孙是啥物？安怎爱出来卖报纸，爱出来捡水管即款呢？伊就甲我讲：哎呀，你毋知啦，生活艰苦啊，所以无变啊，都爱家己饲家己啊。OK。等我有个另外一个朋友 ，OK， 我就问伊讲安怎你破病你莫即伫老君厝，爱伫厝内咧？伊甲我讲，伫新加坡你会使死，袂使病。
阮人是爱安尼款的政府无？你想看卖？会使死都袂使变啊！因人 BAP 做部长、做高官，一年200-300万，安尼就阮人爱甲讲BAP 啊，你会使增加阮人的津贴无？伊就讲爱增加津贴会使，我爱征税起迄个 tax 爱加税你爱安尼款的政府无？OK， 你爱 MRT 地下铁逐摆真侪人逼 MRT 逐摆歹，你爱你的子孙点爱甲外国人竞争，不管什么本来竞争，读册即去读册名额爱竞争，做工爱甲外国人竞争，无定着下抓交因本来甲外国人竞争。你人爱安尼款的政府无？OK， 所以也是恁人买安尼款的政府咧，恁人着转去枕头躺较悬，好好的想，阮人是爱安尼款的政府咧？阮人是毋是爱一个政府爱照顾阮人百姓，照顾咱新加坡人，土生土长的新加坡人无？阮人伫这新加坡60-70年，阁是有诶，阁是建国一代。为这国家、为新加坡奉献几十年，但是你想看卖，阮人 PAP 的政府是安怎对待你的 ？OK， 伊会问你，你去互老军厝的时阵，伊会问你，对毋住，你 CPF 每日说无够，你袂使徛老军厝，你会使叫你厝内人来甲你督北无？这是安尼款，这是有人性的政府无？阮人是要选安怎的议员呢？你想看卖？阮人是要选一个有人心的议员，出来为国家贡献的人呢？是要讲人心，是讲要替国家贡献的，毋是啥物就讲纸字，啥物就讲类的。因人做部长一年200-300万的规工，但是对阮人民呢，就安尼减少。你爱安尼款的政府无？你等去想看卖？OK。所以咧，11号9月是新加坡上重要一日。安怎咧？因为新加坡建国50年，从来无上较一摆，拢总的89区，拢总本来竞选，所以即阵咧，伊本是真担心。所以你看马车路，拢总灯塔，拢总有伊的像，大卡规面拢总有伊的像。OK， 过甲拢总是伊的像。反对党甲伊的像，拢总伊的像，你行输安怎看咩？所以恁人长去想看卖，恁人到底是安怎款的政府？阮人爱的是一个议员，会使入去国会，替阮人这个老百姓、低下层的老百姓，因为阮人会知影阮人的心声。因人即个高高在上，拢总就是毋是平头，就踩拳头。OK， 无就是大老军，因人会了解恁人的百姓的心声袂？因人会知影三餐趁无够食，三餐爱食豆芽，爱配咸菜的生活的。对，因人好食好困，因人会了解你的心声袂？因人三餐山珍海味，他们会了解你们的心声吗？他们不可能会了解你的心声，只有像我们这个团队，我们这个团队都是低下层起来的，所以我们会了解你们的心声。所以呢，你人就要敢敢的出你那勇气出来，敢敢的跟行动党讲不，跟行动党说不 ，OK， 把我们这一批人选进去国会，选有人入去国会，有人会代表你人的心声 ，OK， 来争取你人有人各人应该有的条件。敢敢的投人入国会，感谢，发啦！
会使啊，乱中只 Ladies and gentlemen, we need a lot of volunteer for the counting agent, as counting agent and election agent during the day. Any volunteer can go there and register. We don't want our opponent to cheat, during election. So you can go the other side. Who want to volunteer? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please vote for the Reform Party. Thank you for coming. We will always be with you, and the spirit of JB Jeyaretnam will always be with you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Long live Reform Party! Your spirit will be in all directions from today onwards. Do not worry, the darkest hours are before everyone and before God.
We only have 1 more minute because we have to go off the stage at 10. If not, we'll be persecuted. Yeah, to the members of the press, there'll be a press conference after this. So can we proceed over there? Right, if you are members of the press, we will be doing it over there. Is it okay? Right, if you are a reporter, we'll be having a press conference over there. Guys, I need you to be on your left side, all candidates. I need you to go to your left. Please go to your left for the press conference, right? Kenneth, yeah. Here, this side. Right. This side. Yeah. Ravi? Roy? There's a press conference. Go to your right side. This side. Yeah, now. Thank you. Yes. Thanks.
You shuffle. You just cut. Huh? Okay, I take out. Okay. Okay, can. But yeah, I have to check whether they need this. Okay. Bye. Let's call on the left. You're going, ah? Where is it?
No, we should I'll call the lady.
Don't call her lah, she won't know one lah, she blur one.
So that's it, right? That's the we didn't.
You're going ah?
Yeah, I think they want me to go. I'm the only one here.
I also the only one here.
Cameraman. So how?
Okay, you just
help me. Yeah.
Boss, you can unplug all. Thanks.
And leave it here?
We'll keep later. You just unplug first. Okay. Hey. Your cable. You still hook up. Unplug first. I tell you what, you just keep your camera support.
Boss, where is it?
On the left, on
there.
that side. Come.
Huh? Here. Where is the person?
Somewhere here.
No, they are doing there, is it?
You're coming here.
You're coming where?
Somewhere here.
Here means where? Standing, is it?
Standing. Just crowd round. You may want to get them.
Where?
Because you're the that's the press company.
Because
Boss, is it a standing? You're doing it standing?
Yeah, we are seated there. On the bench. Okay, bro. Why not sit on the side of the bench?
No, they cannot use.
Cannot. It's the here is
Thank you.
supply their vacuum.